Hello folks, Wilful Ninja here, bringing you a nerdy video. I feel like I somehow got tongue twisted saying that. Anyway, today this is the second part of my video. We're talking about monks. I did actually record part 2 yesterday, but sadly I got interrupted, and I believed it was a bigger deal, so I completely, instead of just pausing the recording, I completely scrapped it. But it turns out it was a minor thing, and sorry, a minor inconvenience. But anyway, I have some time now today, so let's get into it. Now, the part 1 talked about the monk in general, like the stuff that every monk gets. So today we're going to talk about the archetypes, and there are 6, not counting the one from the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. Now, we're not going to talk about the one from Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide because that is more the lore of that one is more tailored towards the Sword Coast. Now, like everything in this, like most subclasses, they encourage you not to just leave them as restricted, but like, for example, the Blazer, like that was the most evidence where they say, yeah, don't, like, you can remove the restriction. So I haven't looked at the Way of the Long Death, so I don't know how to fit it into my world just yet. So I'm not gonna touch that yet. All right. So anyway, let's get on with the other 6. This is called the Way of the Open Hand, and it's basically an archetype that utilizes your unarmed strikes. It encourages you to use them, to use your hands rather than to use weapons. So basically, when you pick this class at level 3, straight away you get the ability to use your ki to attack a creature. You enhance your flurry of blows. When you use flurry of blows on a creature, it must make a dexterity saving throw or it will be knocked prone. And then it will make a strength saving throw. Oh yeah, sorry. When you hit a creature with your flurry of blows, you get to impose one of the following abilities. Sorry, my mistake. One, it will have to make a dexterity saving throw, or be thrown, or be knocked prone. A strength saving throw, or it gets pushed back 15 feet away from you, or it can't take a reaction until the end of your next turn. Now, the way I see the strength saving throw one, I see that as being like a standard, like the final strike from your flurry of blows as being like that open palm push. That you see in kung fu movies that knock people flying back, like, or whatever. It's, again, the monk allows you to play very creatively, and it's really fun. There's the wholeness of body. Now, this ability allows you to regain hit points equal to 3 times your monk level. So when you get this is at level 6. So basically, once you get this ability, it's 6. You'll be able to recover 18 hit points. But you need to take a long rest to recharge this ability. So it doesn't completely negate the fact that you will need a healer in the party, but it's a handy little emergency heal ability in case you're getting close to 0 hit points. It will allow your monk to stay into combat much longer. Tranquility at level 11 allows you to enter a special This is one of the... A part of me feels like the Way of the Open Palm and the Way of the Four Elements really took the shine in the archetypes. My favourite one, the Way of Shadows, sadly, it lacks something, and you'll see why. At level 11, with Tranquility, whenever you take a long rest, you're basically meditating. You enter a special meditation that surrounds you with an aura of peace. At the end of a long rest, you gain the effect of a sanctuary spell that lasts, get this, lasts until until the start of your next long rest. The spell can end early as normal. The saving throw DC for the spell equals A plus your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency bonus. What the goddamn hell? And then you have Quivering Palm, which is something I feel like is definitely more unsuited with the Way of Shadow. Basically, when you hit a creature with Quivering Palm at level 17, you can spend 3 key points to sort of like disrupt their send in vibrations to disrupt their key. And basically, the vibrations will last a number of days equal to your monk level. The vibrations are harmless unless you use your action to end them. When you do so, the target must be on the same plane of existence, and when you use this action, the creature must make a Constitution saving throw. If it fails, it is reduced to 0 hit points. If it succeeds, it takes 10d10 necrotic damage. You can only have one creature under effect of this feature at a time. You must choose to end the vibrations harmlessly without using an action. So, yeah, folks, what the goddamn hell? Like, that is really powerful, folks. Now, the way of the open hand is very much those monks see themselves as defenders. They will set up their monasteries possibly near dangerous areas, and they will seek to protect the surrounding lands. They're very protective, and they believe it, and they will use their martial arts to protect others. The Way of Shadow, however, they value stealth and subterfuge, and again it says right in the book, these monks might be called ninjas or shadow dancers, and they often serve as spies or assassins. Sometimes a member of a ninja monastery are family members forming a clan sworn to secrecy about their arts and missions. Other monasteries are more like thieves' guilds, hiring out their services to nobles, rich merchants, and anyone else. So again, monks are not always good. That is one of the key distinctions that the Way of Shadow sets up. Now, from the lore section that we got beforehand in the first video, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. One of the examples that the book gives you about a Way of Shadow is, I think it was a halfling. She steps into one shadow, and then comes out another one at stone throws away, and she sees like this tyrant asleep, and clearly she's going to assassinate him. So like you can play a Way of a Shadow monk as like sort of like an Assassin's Creed type of thing, like where they are sworn to take out the like tyrants and all that, like. Or you can be like, this monastery is purely mercenaries or assassins who don't really care about the common good for everyone else. You know? And I find that, and again, regardless of their methods, the heads of these monasteries expect unquestioning obedience from their students. So, again, this is like a very standard sense of, yeah, we're teaching you these really secret techniques. You will obey us. And I will probably kill anyone who left without permission. Here, you get, when you pick this archetype at level 3, you get to use your key to duplicate the effects of certain spells. You can spend 2 key points to cast Darkness, Dark Vision, Pass Without a Trace, or Silence, without providing material components. Additionally, you gain the Minor Illusion cantrip if you don't already know it. You also get level 6 a Shadow Step. Now this is the ability that allows you to teleport. It is a bonus action to teleport 60 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see that is also in dim light or darkness. You have advantage on the first melee attack you make before the end of the turn. So, the one positive thing I can, like, it seems like the archetypes, like, now this is similar to the Open Palm. You get a lot of abilities that don't really require you to spend key points. Here's the next example, Cloak of Shadows. With this, you just enter a dim light or dark area, and you can become invisible for as long as you're there until you make an attack or cast a spell, or until you're in an area of bright light. Now, notice that it says bright light, very distinctive. But yeah, I find it interesting that like the Way of Shadow, up until this point, this is where the Way of Shadow is really epic. The last ability for level 17 is something I find very disappointing, and I think this is the reason why I developed my Shadow Assassin, because I found this last one very lackluster for what they advertised early on as Way of Shadow. It's called Opportunist. Basically, what it allows you to do is if one of your allies hits an enemy and you're in 5 feet of the enemy, you can then you can spend your reaction to make a melee attack against that creature. I find that very lackluster for level 17, and for this archetype, I find that extremely lackluster, and especially since it's the final ability of the Way of Shadow. It feels like Opportunist should have been maybe before Cloak of Shadows, and then Cloak of Shadows being level 17. That's what it feels like to me. Like, at this point, it makes me feel like if I was to play a monk and go Way of Shadow, I feel like I would multi-class maybe at level 11. And then take something else. You know? Because the only thing I would be there's a few things I'll be missing from the monk then at that point. By level 14, I believe. Was it level 14? Yeah. Like, I'll be missing a Timeless Body, which means, I can't die of old age. Okay. I'll be missing out on Empty Body, but I already have Cloak of Shadows, which allows me to go invisible. Oh no, yeah. And then I'll be missing out on Perfect Self. And I would have about, how many key points? Level 14. I would have 14 key points, and I have 25 feet of extra movement. And I would have a DA for my unarmed strikes. So I'll be only missing 5 feet and a D10, and an extra 6 key points. But I can then go into Rogue for the next 6 levels and build a very powerful, sort of assassin ninja type of character. I don't know. It just, the Opportunist just doesn't feel right to me. So I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's worth leveling up to 17. Alright. Actually, wait, I will only need to go up to level 11 for Cloak of Shadows. So that's actually 9 levels into the thing. I'll probably go to 14 though. But anyway, folks, we're moving on. Next is the Way of the Four Elements. This is very much making an Aang type, like an Avatar type of character. Now, when I say Avatar, I don't mean Master of Four Elements. I mean as in a character who can manipulate the 4 elements, but does a true martial arts. Now, in my opinion, a true master of the elements is a druid, because they purely harness nature-based magic, and you can build your druid entirely around the elements rather than wildlife. But yeah, the Way of the Four Elements is very much like this. It's like the avatars that we got, the bending that we got from the show, the whole martial art, and then using that to manipulate elements. Whereas druid gets us, complete mastery over elements, where you don't even have to use martial arts. You just wave your hand and you cause like tidal waves and whatnot. So again, it depends on which type of one you want to go for. Avatar, Way of Four Elements. True Master, Druid. Now, the Druid, now there's you get you get certain elemental disciplines, and some of them allow you to duplicate spells. You get one elemental discipline for free, and that's elemental attunement, I believe. Yeah, you do. You know the elemental attunement discipline and one other elemental discipline of your choice, which are detailed in the elemental discipline section below. So yeah, and you get to make another. You learn one additional elemental discipline of your choice at 6th, 11th, and 17th level. So that gives you a total of 5, I believe. 2 from level 3, 1 from level 6. Yeah, 5, I believe. Now, once you reach level 5, you can spend additional key points to increase the level of your elemental disciplines that you can cast. Once you reach level 5 in this class, you can spend additional key points to increase the level of the elemental discipline spell that you cast, provided that the spell has an enhanced effect at a higher level, as Burn Enhance does. But there's a maximum amount of key points you can spend on a spell. So basically, and that maximum counts for your casting. So you spend 2 key points. Let's look at some of the elemental disciplines. There's one for Burning Hands. Where is it? Let's see. Where is it? Oh, here you go. Sweeping Cinder Strike. You spend 2 key points to cast Burning Hands. So there you go. Now at level 5, you have a maximum of 3 key you can spend on one of these type of spells. You spend 2 of them to actually just cast a spell. But so then you can only increase it to level once, because you can then spend an additional one, getting you to your maximum of 3. So you have to be careful about that. Now they go up by 1 after at this point. 5th to level 9. Sorry, 5th to 8 is 3 key points. 9th to 12 is 4. 13 to 16 is 5. And 17 to 20th is 6. Now, folks, this is where this is it. This is all that the Way of the Four Elements gets. Now, it will seem very little as opposed to the other archetypes, but that's because some of the stuff that these spells can do are extremely powerful. Breath of Winter. Now, some of them do require. I should mention that some of them do require a certain level in the class to cast, not character level, class level. So you'll need to be a monk. For the first one, for example, you need to be a monk 17 to get this ability. You can spend 6 key points to cast Cone of Cold. You can spend level for Clench of the North Wind, 6th level monk. You can spend 3 key points to cast Hold Person. Elemental Attunement requires no key points to use, and it's your very first one. Eternal Mountain Defense requires you to be level 11. You can spend 5 key points to cast Stone Skin on yourself. I picture sort of like Dragon Age Inquisition, the Stone Skin spell, where you actually put like rocks of armor on yourself. Fangs of the Fire Snake. You can use when you use an attack action on your turn. You can spend 1 key point to cause tendrils of flame to stretch out from your fists and feet. Your reach with your unarmed strikes increases by 10 feet for that attack, as well as the rest of the turn. A hit with such an attack deals fire damage instead of bludgeoning damage, and you can spend 1 key point when the attack hits to also deal an extra 1d10 fire damage. Now notice when it says when you use an attack action on your turn. So basically that's all your attacks. Actually hold on. Yeah, for the rest of the turn. So basically you spend 1 key point, you're basically your reach for all your unarmed strikes. And remember, you get about you get about 4 attacks as a monk. Wait, hold on. Yeah, you get 4 attacks as a monk, because you get extra attack, and then there's flurry of blows. So, yeah, all of those attacks can be boosted by spending this 1 key point. And then for an additional 4 key points, you can then deal at least 40 damage. This requires no level, folks. This is one from level. So straight away with Flurry Bows, you start off with 3 attacks. So by level 3, let's see, how many key points would you have at level 3? 3 key points. So 1 to go into this stay. Yeah, so you can only boost then 2 attacks, sadly. But eventually you'll be able to boost all of them. So it's a really cool ability. You get Fist. You also have Fist of the 4 Thunders. You can spend 2 key points to cast Thunder Wave. Now here's a really powerful one. Yeah, this is it. It's called Fist of the Unbroken Air. Now remember, folks, there is that cap for boosting key points, but I don't know. It seems like this may ignore it. Now, see, this is because the spell gets higher, and I'll need to read the spell. But see, it doesn't say you cast a spell, so you're actually not casting a spell. And the key point maximum is for when you're casting a spell, such as like Burning Hands. So since this is not a spell, I believe this has no cap. You basically punch the air to create a compressed air that strikes with a mighty fist. You can spend 2 key points to choose a creature within 30 feet of you, and that creature must make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 3d10 bludgeoning damage plus an extra 1d10 bludgeoning damage for each key point you spend. You can also push the creature up to 20 feet away from you and knock it prone. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and you don't push it back or knock it prone. That is really cool because, again, the creature takes an additional 1d10 bludgeoning damage for each additional key point you spend. So basically, by level 20, you spend 2 key points to get the 3d10. You then spend the additional 18 to get 18 d10s added onto it. And you're basically compressing a whole bunch of air into your mighty fist. And then, boom! You know, like, what the hell? There's Flames of the Phoenix. This requires you to be level 11. By the way, Fist of the Unbroken Air, no level requirement. You can spend 4 key points to cast Fireball. Gong of the Summit requires you to be level 6. You can spend 3 key points to cast Shatter. Mist Dance requires you to be level 11. You can spend 4 key points to cast Gaseous Form, targeting yourself. Level 11 required for Ride of the Wind. You can spend 4 key points to cast Fly, targeting yourself. I noticed that the Way of the 4 Elements monk does not do any support. There are some spells that could give them a support role, but they don't. They're purely DPS, or targeting yourself. River of the Hungry Flame requires you to be level 17. You can spend 5 key points to cast Wall of Fire. Rush of the Gale Spirits. You can spend 2 key points to cast Gust of Wind. Shape the Flowing River. Now, this one does not say you're casting a spell, so this is, free to use however you want. As an action, you can spend 1 key point to choose an area of ice, water, or no larger than 30 feet on the side within 120 feet of you. You can change the water to ice within the area and vice versa. You can also reshape the ice in the area to any manner you choose. You can raise or lower the ice elevation, create or fill in a trench, erect or flatten a wall, or form a pillar, and the extent of any such changes can't exceed half the area's largest dimension. For example, if you affect a 30-foot square, you can create a pillar up to 15 feet high, rise to or lower the square's elevation by up to 15 feet. dig a trench up to 15 feet deep, and so on. You can shape the ice to trap or injure a creature in the area. So sadly, you can't harm a creature, but you can use it to create cover for your allies. Again, you have to be creative with it. And it's not bad for just one key point, folks. We already went over Sweeping Cinder Strike, so that leaves 2 left. Water Whip. You can spend 2 key points as a bonus action to create a whip of water that shoves and pulls a creature to unbalance it. A creature that you can see within 30 feet of you must make a dexterity saving throw, and on a fail save, the creature takes 3d10 bludgeoning damage plus an extra 1d10 bludgeoning damage for each additional key point you spend. And it can either knock it prone or pull it up to 25 feet closer to you. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and you don't pull it or knock it prone. And then last but not least, you have Wave. Now, funny enough, Water Whip is actually how Wong got his first and only kill. For all the time that Wong was travelling with the Lunar Guard, he avoided killing anything. He always knocked it unconscious while the rest of the party, we went in for kills. Which led to, sometimes often discussions. Whereas on one fateful Halloween, Wong saw an enemy, wanted to pull it closer to them so that he could punch it. He dealt so much damage that the attack itself killed, but he already said, I'm pulling it towards me. So as the DM, I described the attack as, because it was not a natural 20 or a natural 1 or in some cases the final kill of the encounter, I had to decide how it was described. So basically, he made it so his character misjudged the strength of his whip, and when he pulled it accidentally broke the creature's neck. It didn't do it. His character did not do it maliciously, but it did lead his character to go into a downward spiral. Wave of the Rolling Earth. This requires you to be level 17. You can spend 6 key points to cast Wall of Stone. Now, there is this is it for the PHP's archetypes. There is still Xanatar's Guide, which I'll be getting to soon. But okay, let's talk about Mosaic Orders. This is a box that they decided to put here to give you more idea on monks. The worlds of D&D contain a multitude of monasteries and mosaic traditions. In the land with an Asian cultural flavour such as Shaolong, far to the east of the Forgotten Realm. These monasteries are associated with philosophical traditions and martial arts practice. The Iron Hand School and the Five Star School and the Northern Fist School and the Sun Star School of Shaolong teach different approaches to the physical, mental and spiritual disciplines of a monk. Some of these monasteries have spread to the western lands of Faerun, particularly in places with large Shao immigrant communities such as Tesk and Westgate. Other mosaic traditions are associated with deities who teach the value of physical excellence and mental discipline. In the Forgotten Realms, the Order of the Dark Moon is made up of monks dedicated to Shar, the goddess of loss, who maintain secret communities in remote hills, back alleys, and subterranean hideaways. Monasteries of Ilmatar, the god of endurance, are named after flowers, and their orders carry the names of great heroes of the faith. The disciples of the Saint Solars, the twice martyrs, reside in the monastery of the Yellow Rose near Daramar. Monasteries of Ereban combine the study of martial arts with the life of scholarship. Most are devoted to the deities of the sovereign host. In the world of Dragonlance, most monks are devoted to Measure, the god of meditation and thought. In Greyhawk, many monasteries are dedicated to Zhang Ye, the goddess of twilight, and the superiority of mind over matter, or to the Zuken, god of the mental and physical mastery. The evil monks of the Scarlet Brotherhood in the world of Greyhawk derive their fanatic zeal from the devotion to the god of, not from a god of devotion, but to a god from home. The evil monks of the Scarlet Brotherhood in the world of Greyhawk that derive their fanatic zeal not from the devotion to a god, but from the dedication to the principles of their nation and their race. The belief that the soul strands of humanity are meant to rule the world. Okay. Sorry. I was misreading that for a bit. Sometimes you have to, reread. But okay. Let's get down to what new archetypes we have from Xanathar's Guide. Now, these are really cool. You have Drunken Master, Kensei, and Sun Soul. You have 3 new archetypes. Way of the Drunken Master. The Way of the Drunken Master teaches its students to move with the jerky unpredictable movements of a drunkard. A drunken master sways, tottering on unsteady feet, to present what seems like incompetent combatant who proves frustrating to engage. The drunken master's erratic stumbles conceal a carefully executed dance of blocks, parries, advances, attacks, and retreats. A drunken master often enjoys playing the fool to bring gladness to the despotent and demonstrate humility to the arrogant. But when battle is joined, the drunken master can be the maddening master foe. You get a bonus proficiency. When you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you gain proficiency in the performance skill if you don't already have it. Your martial arts technique mixes combat training with the precision of a dancer and the antics of a jester. You also gain proficiency in brewer supplies if you don't already have it. Now, this is the only one that I believe gives you 2 abilities at 3rd level. But you also have something called the Drunken Technique. At 3rd level, you learn to twist. Oh. Sorry guys, I haven't had my tea yet. You learn how to twist and turn quickly as a part of your flurry of blows. Whenever you use flurry of blows, you gain the benefit of disengage, and your walking speed increases by 10 feet until the end of your next turn. See, that way, that's fun, because that means instead of spending your bonus action and key point to get disengage, you walk up to someone, take the attack action, boom, boom, boom. Let's say this is a no trace. Let's say you're level 5 and you got your extra attack, so you attack the guy 4 times, and then you can disengage and run away. That's really funny. Tipsy Sway at level 6. Starting at 6th level, you can move in sudden swaying ways. You gain the following benefits. Leap to your feet. When you are prone, you can stand by spending up to 5 feet of your movement rather than half your speed. So that's great. So like, especially with Monk, because being knocked prone is still like a big deal to you because you have to sacrifice half your movement, which means like even if you have your maximum, which is I believe 60 feet, you're back down to moving like a normal person. With this, yeah, being on your back, you can just bounce right back. You also have redirect attack. When a creature misses you, when a creature misses with you with a melee attack roll, you can spend 1 key point as a reaction to cause the attack to hit one creature of your choice, other than the attacker, that you can see within 5 feet of you. So yeah, being surrounded by enemies, boom, you hit your ally. Very funny. Drunkard's Luck. Starting at level 11, you always seem to get lucky bounce in the right moment. When you make an ability check or an attack roll or a saving throw and you have disadvantage, you can spend 2 key points to cancel the disadvantage on that roll. Intoxicated Frenzy at level 17. You gain the ability to make an overwhelming number of attacks against a group of enemies. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can make up to 3 additional attacks with up to a total of 5 Flurry of Blows attacks, provided each Flurry of Blows attacks a different creature this turn. So you hit one enemy. You can hit one enemy twice or two different enemies. Say if you're surrounded by like, let's see, 7 enemies. You can spend you can spend 2 of your attacks to hit 2 guys, and then your flurry blows can then hit everyone else that's around you. Pretty cool. So that is the Drunken Master. Now we have the part of the Kensei. Now I believe this is taking the monk in a very different approach, because so far we've seen that the monks could use martial weapons or what they call monk weapons, but at the same time they seem to more specialize in using their unarmed attacks or using some sort of elements. We hardly see them get boosts to their weapon attacks. Monks of the Way of the Kensei train relentlessly with their weapons, to the point where the weapon becomes an extension of the body. Founded on the mastery of sword fighting, the tradition has expanded to include many different weapons. A Kensei sees a weapon in much the same way a calligrapher or painter regards a pen or a brush. Whatever the weapon, the Kensei views it as a tool used to express the beauty and precision of the martial arts. That such mastery makes a Kensei a peerless warrior is but a side effect to the intense devotion and practice and study. Part of the Kensei you have, it has in brackets then 2 weapons. When you choose this tradition at 3rd level, your special martial arts training leads you to master the use of certain weapons. This part also includes an instruction in the deft strokes of calligraphy and painting. You gain the following benefits. Kensei weapons. Choose 2 types of weapons to be your Kensei weapons. 1 melee and 1 ranged. Each of those weapons can be any simple or martial weapon that lacks the heavy and special properties. The longbow is also a valid choice. You gain proficiency with these weapons, if you don't already have it. Weapons of the chosen types are monk weapons for you. Many of this tradition features work only. Most of the tradition's features work only with your Kensei weapons. When you reach 6th, 11th, and 17th level in this class, you can choose another type of weapon, either melee or ranged, to be your Kensei weapon for you, following the criteria above. So, by level 5 you have 5 weapons. Agile Parry. If you make an unarmed strike as part of an attack action on your turn, and are holding a Kensei weapon, you can use it to defend yourself if it is a melee weapon. You get a +2 bonus to your AC until the start of your next turn, while the weapon is in your hands and you are not incapacitated. So that's funny. So even though this class is going to revolve around your Kensei weapons, if you right off the bat, if you attack with an unarmed strike instead of your Kensei weapon, your weapon is focused on aiding your defense. Pretty cool. Kensei Shot. You can use your bonus action on your turn to make a ranged weapon attacks with your Kensei weapon more deadly. When you do so, any target you hit with a ranged attack using a Kensei weapon takes an additional 1d4 damage of that weapon's type. You retain this benefit until the end of your current turn. Okay, so you spend a bonus action to boost your shots. So you get about 2 max. And then Wave the Brush. You gain proficiency with your choice of calligrapher supplies or painter supplies. That's funny, because like the first 2 are about boosting your capabilities with your weapons, and then the first one, then it's just like, oh yeah, here's some extra proficiency for you. Now at level 6 you get 1 with the blade. At 6th level you extend your key into your weapons, granting the following benefits. Magic Kensei weapons. Your attacks with your Kensei weapons count as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. Deft Strike. When you hit with a target with a Kensei weapon, you can spend 1 key point to cause the weapon to deal extra damage to the target equal to your martial arts die. You can use this feature only once on each of your turns. Pretty cool. That's giving you a lot more extra damage. At level 11, you have Sharpen the Blade. At level 11, you gain the ability to augment your weapons further with your ki. As a bonus action, you can expend up to 3 ki points to grant one Kensei weapon you touch a bonus attack and damage rolls. When you attack with it, the bonus equals the number of ki points you spent. The bonus lasts 1 minute until the end of the... Oh, okay. So basically, Sharpen the Blade allows you to turn mundane weapons into +3. Or plus, like to +3 at max. But if they're already a +1 or a +2 or a +3, they have no effect. So, yeah. So basically, the way the Kensei, because you can really play off, with the way of the Kensei, you can really play off a character who does not care for material objects, even when it comes to weapons. So, like, instead of ever having to spend money on, you literally would only spend money on, like, food or places to stay. You would never spend your money on equipment. You'll probably turn down money. Which is pretty cool. Like, it can really play off a character who is all about not taking material rewards, you know, because the weapons that they're trained in will eventually they become magical first off at level 6, but by level 11 you can sharpen them to the point that they are equal to any weapon. Unerring accuracy. This is your last ability with the Kensei. Your mastery of weapons grants you extraordinary accuracy. If you miss with an attack roll using a monk weapon on your turn, you can re-roll it. You can use this feature only once on each of your turns. Not bad, not bad. The way the Kensei, it seems like it will be really fun. Now we're on to the last one now. I have friends who say Way of the Sun Soul is basically playing Goku. And let's find out how. Monks of the Way of the Sun Soul learn to channel their life energy into searing bolts of light. They teach that meditation can unlock the ability to unleash the indomitable light shed by the soul of every living creature. Radiant Sunbolt. Starting when you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you can hurl searing bolts of magical radiance. You get a new attack option that you can use with an attack action. This special attack is a ranged spell attack with a range of 30 feet. You're proficient with it and you add your dexterity modifier to its attack and damage rolls. Its damage is radiant and its damage die is a d4. The die changes as you gain monk levels as shown in the martial arts column on the monk table. When you take an attack action on your turn and use a special attack as part of it, you can spend 1 ki point to make the special attack twice as a bonus action. When you gain the extra attack feature, this special attack can be used for any of the attacks you make as part of your attack action. So wow. Okay, I'm starting to see it now. Searing Arc Strike. At 6th level, you gain the ability to channel your ki into searing waves of energy. Immediately after you take an attack action on your turn, you can spend 2 ki points to cast Burning Hand spell as a bonus action. You can spend additional ki points to cast Burning Hands at higher levels. Each additional ki point you spend increases the spell's level by 1. The maximum number of ki points +2 to any additional points you can spend on the spell equals half of your monk level. Okay, I'm starting to really see it now. Searing Sunburst. At level 11, you gain the ability to create an orb of light that erupts into a devastating explosion. As an action, you magically create an orb and hurl it at a point you choose within 150 feet, where it erupts into a sphere of radiant light for a brief but deadly instant. Each creature in that 20-foot radius sphere must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take 2d6 radiant damage. Each creature doesn't need to make a saving throw if the creature is behind total cover that is opquay. I have no idea what that word means. You can increase the sphere's damage by spending ki points. Each point you spend to a maximum of 3 increases the damage by 2d6, so a maximum of 6d6. Sun Shields. At level 17, you become rayed in a luminous magical aura. You shed bright light in a 30-foot radius and dim light for additional 30 feet. You can extinguish or restore the light as a bonus action. If a creature hits you with a melee attack while this light shines, you can use your action to deal radiant damage to the creature. So basically that last one is basically you going Super Saiyan. Okay, I see it. Oh my god. Like, okay, you got Ki Blast, Burning Hands, which I believe has a range... What's the range of Burning Hands? Because I feel like that's your Kamehameha. Hold on, folks. We're going to go look at a spell description. Let's see here. Rules of magic, spell lists, spell descriptions. Okay, here we go. Bake, Banishing, Bark Skin, Baby's Hands, Blade Barrier, Blast, Blink, Blue, Burning Hands. Here we go. Okay, so it's a 15-foot cone. Alright, I'm a little disappointed, but I suppose it's like a smaller range, Kamehameha. But it's very powerful. But yeah, folks, like, okay. I see it now with the Sun Soul. Oh my god, Son Goku. Sorry, Son Goku and Sun Soul. Oh my god. Okay, so you got your Ki Blast, you have your Kamehameha, and of course you have the Spirit Bomb. And then at level 17 you have Super Saiyan. The only thing you can't do is fly. But oh my god, that is hilarious, folks. That to me is funny. So yeah, you can totally play a Goku character with the Way of the Sunstone Monk. But yeah, that's it, folks. That is all 6 archetypes of the monk, with the exception of the Way of the Long Death, which I will eventually cover when I get to Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. So, you guys learned, I hope by the time you watched both of these videos you learned a little something about the monk in terms of lore, but also I hope you learned that how fun the monk can be. There's many different racial choices you can go with, particularly those that boost your dexterity and wisdom. But at the same time, since from what we found out in the first section of this video, it seems that monks run orphanages. Like if a child has no parents, instead of being sent to a church, they seem to be sent to a monastery. And since some people who don't want kids will just leave them, basically monasteries took the place of a church, you know, it seems in D&D. Now again, DMs can rule it differently. So again, so I'm not saying that it has to be that way. If your DM says, oh no, in my world, there's still a very dominant church system, and that's where children are left if they're unwanted, like by their parents, or it's the church that takes them in when if their parents die. That is totally up to your DM. I'm just saying from what the book says, that's where wizards were going with it, and it's okay if that's where they wanted to go with it. It is completely up to them, which I still find funny. So which means technically any race is welcome, and I could definitely see having fun playing a tiefling, because not every person in a tiefling's family is going to have the tiefling features. For example, for generations your family could be born human, but because of that one choice of making a pact or some sort of deal with a devil or a demon, you know, generations upon generations upon generations ago, all of a sudden you're born as a tiefling. Instead of being born a human like the rest of your family, you were born a tiefling. Maybe the shame of your family maybe the shame of you being born a tiefling has has driven your parents or one of your parents to place you back at an orphanage, like a monastery. You know, maybe, and then who knows, maybe you decide then, hey, I'm actually going to go out into the world and try and find out who I am. And oh my god, that is the goddamn plot of Hercules, the animated movie from Disney. Huh. Okay. But it's a good. It's a trope, but it's a good trope, I suppose. God damn it. But yeah, there's a lot of different things you could do with the monk. So technically, no race is perfectly ideal. The only way I can say a race is more ideal to playing a monk is if that race has attribute points increased for it. And that's about it. But anyway, folks, this is Wolf Ninja. Sign out. May the force be with you, and remember, roll for initiative.